Hey everyone, if you're regularly moving lots of data around with NVMe drives, this might be one of the best value NVMe enclosures you can buy right now. So this is the ACASIS TBU405 and it supports up to 40 gigabits of bandwidth. And there are NVMe enclosures that are like 80 gigabits of bandwidth, but this is actually a fraction of the price of those other premium options. So if you are looking to move a lot of data around, this could be perfect for you. And on the back it just tells you it's compatible with Thunderbolt 3 and 4 and up to USB4, and it's lightweight and portable, and we'll look at it in a minute. And it's also got tool-free installation, so you don't need to worry about those tiny little screws, so that's always nice. And it's also got built-in heat dissipation, and then there's a Pro version that has a built-in fan as well, just to keep things extra cool. But in theory you shouldn't need this with this due to the built-in heat dissipation as well. But next let's actually look in the box. Ooh, there we are. So you've got the actual NVMe enclosure there, which is just packaged up there. Nice colour, feels nice. It's a metal design as opposed to plastic, so that's always good to see. And then under here, you've also got everything else you need. So actual heat sinks and the things that go on top. And then you've got instructions of how you actually install this, depending on, the length of the NVMe drive. And then you've actually got your USB-C cable that supports up to 40 gigabits per second. And I always like when they put the speed on the actual cable, just so that if you chuck this in a drawer somewhere, you actually know, you're getting the right cable back out instead of just randomly, testing USB cables and finding the wrong ones for you. Okay, and if we come to actually install things, the first thing it says is open the back plate, and you can see it says open there. So we're going to prise that open, and you can see there's a slot where the NVMe drive can go in, and then you're left with this, so just the bare thing. And if your NVMe drive is shorter than 2280, and obviously this is a full-size one, so you can see it'll fit there fine. But basically, if yours is shorter, then you've got this, and you can actually see that you basically, you snap this off according to the, desired size. But hopefully we won't need that. So what's actually going to happen is we're going to come along here, put our NVMe drive in there, and then we're actually going to go into this bag and actually use one of the screws that's in there, and also use a thermal pad as well if we wanted. And in this bag you've got two different widths of thermal pads. You've got one that's 0.5 mil thick and one that's 1 millimeter thick. You can see the difference there. I'm just going to use the 0.5 millimeter one for now. Put that on there. It's always nice when thermal pads are included because that can make a big difference, especially if you've got like a Gen 4 or Gen 5 drive like I do here. So I'm just going to put that on for heat dissipation purposes. And then you've got to make sure you take the other side off as well. And then you've just got this little screw. So basically that is going to act as a spacer just to make sure that the back of the NVMe drive isn't going to, touch upon the actual circuitry here. So there we are. You can see there, I've put the screw in and I can see that there's actually now a gap between the NVMe drive or the back of it and the actual circuitry of this ACASIS NVMe enclosure. That's really important. I've got my thermal pad on there. And as I mentioned, I just went for the 0.5 mil one. But if I was using like a Gen 5 drive, maybe I'd use, the thicker one instead. And then you can just put that back. There we are, that's done. And the final thing we can now do is connect up to the computer and try it out. Okay, so while we wait for CrystalDiskMark to run through, it always takes a while. Basically, I've connected this up to my X870 ports on the back. This is the Aura Stealth, and it's got two 40 gigabit per second ports. So this is going to max out the speed, of this ACASIS NVMe enclosure. And if we look at Crystal Disk Info, this drive is in good health, and it's running currently at PCIe Gen 3x4, and that's actually fairly normal, although this enclosure supports up to, Gen 4 absolutely fine. When you've actually connected things up, sometimes it will show as Gen 3, but you're still going to get the, super fast speeds. And you can actually see this, CrystalDiskMark is almost finished, and I'm getting over 3000 megabytes per second of read speeds, which is actually really, really fast. The writes are slightly slower, but to be honest, I expect that because this is a smaller NVMe drive. It's not the, X variant, it's just the basic SN850, I believe, which is a slightly slower drive. But you can see that, it's finished now, but you can see that the performance of this drive is very, very good. And that is brilliant, actually. For such a budget, NVMe enclosure, that is actually a really good result. I'm going to do one final test, which is to copy a really big file as well and see how that gets on. Okay, so this is a 46 gigabyte file, so quite a big one, and that is local, just in my videos, and now I'm going to copy it and see how fast it goes. And we can see there we get in, quite fast speeds at the moment, around 700 megabytes per second, and now it's increasing up to like 800, and that's actually pretty good for such a big file. Like, you can see how fast it's going. If like me, you do regularly do filming and have massive files, then this is going to run really, really fast. So I'm quite impressed by that. And if we actually refresh this, I wanted to just look at the drive temperatures, and it's 59 degrees Celsius, which is a decent amount, but it's not too bad, for a Gen 4 NVMe enclosure. which is actively being hammered, firstly by CrystalDiskInfo or Mark, and then actually by a file copy. 59 degrees isn't too bad, to be honest, and remember I used the thinner thermal pad as well. If I used the thicker one, then that would be better. Now that's finished, and that didn't take much time at all. I'll put the exact seconds on the screen because I forgot to track it, but basically that is a very, very fast speed. And yeah, the drive temperatures are going a little bit high, which is a bit of a pity, but that is partly because for this particular enclosure, it doesn't have a built-in fan, but you can pay a bit extra for the Pro version and have a built-in fan, or you can actually just wait and the temperatures probably will come down naturally.
A few moments later.
Yes, so I've waited around a minute and then it went down to 59 degrees Celsius. My hunch is that's going to keep dropping. So that is my review of the ACASIS TBU405, which is a 40 gigabits per second NVMe enclosure. It's really fast, it works really well, and it's budget compared to the ones that are like hundreds of dollars or hundreds of pounds. I'll put some links in the description if you wanted to look at this yourself. And if you had any questions, please leave them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button. Please subscribe to see more shorter videos like this. Thanks for watching.